Good afternoon, Raider parents. This is Principal Suzanne Klinger. Thanks for joining me in this electronic meeting. Every year I like to gather parents together for a quick spring meeting to wrap up the year and share information regarding next year. However, I've come to realize that face-to-face meetings are often difficult with busy schedules, so I'm trying a different format to pass on information to you. You'll have to let me know what you think. For today's topics, I would like to review graduation requirements, share our course offerings for next year, which can fluctuate a bit each year, give you a chance to evaluate your son or daughter's progress towards a high school diploma, and then share some information regarding our assessments and overall summer reminders to keep your child engaged in their education and keep them forward thinking regarding their career options. So first, let's just revisit that all Charlevoix High School students will need 23 credits to receive a high school diploma. This is very doable for our students to accomplish given the fact that they can take 6 credits over 4 years for a total of 24 credits. This gives students what I call wiggle room for one course mistake and still graduate on time. Most of these credits are mandated through the state of Michigan by the Michigan Merit Curriculum, but you will see at the bottom of the screen that students do have the option to take a handful of elective courses over the course of their high school career. This is where interest, abilities, and potential future plans come into play. Students will want to select these elective courses that fit well with their own interests and future plans. A couple points of interest on this slide. All students are required to pass 4 years of math through Algebra 2. During senior year, students are required to take a math-related course, which we do have many options. The other note to mention, although students are required to take 2 years of a world language, students do have the option of replacing year 2 with a career tech ed course. I would advise college-bound students to do a little research on that topic before making any decisions. Many colleges or universities prefer 2 years of world language in high school, and there are some that prefer 4 years. Before we launch into what courses are available for your son or daughter, I do want to visit college credit options within our high school. With the growing expense of college, our district has made a concerted effort to try our best to offer as many college options for students as possible. Since we are a small Class C school, this can be a little challenging, but I find that our staff is getting more creative with offering these options. So, Raiders can access and obtain college credits in 4 different ways. 2 of the ways require obtaining mandated scores on tests, and 2 require taking an actual college course. First, let's cover college courses. Our students can either take a concurrent college course offered on our campus, taught by our own instructors, who are adjunct instructors through NCMC, or students can take a dual enrollment course through NCMC, which is taught by their instructors, either in person on the campus in Petoskey or online. Both of these options are free to students and families up to $620. I will let you know that some lab courses run a little bit more than this, and the balance of the class or the fee would be up to the student to pay. In this option, students are taking classes through NCMC, North Central Michigan College, and therefore they're starting an NCMC transcript. This means if your son or daughter is interested in transferring to college or university, they should be researching if those credits will transfer or not. We do find that our English comp classes are highly transferable as English credits, usually up to 6 credits, and that our Intro to Business class is usually transferable as an entry-level business class up to 3 credits. If it doesn't transfer as a business class, it usually will transfer as a general ed curriculum. Again, it is best for students to research how those credits will transfer into their college of choice. The other 2 options require a student to take a national exam in the spring and score at an expected level in order to obtain college credit. College Board, which is the same organization that produces the PSAT and SAT, also produces 2 exams, national exams, one called Advanced Placement and the other called CLEP. Ideally, students take the high school courses that will prepare them to score well on the national exam in the spring. Again, all colleges and universities set slightly different score expectations on these exams, so students would need to research what score is needed to obtain a college credit in the corresponding course. For instance, sophomores in our school may take Advanced Placement U.S. History as our social studies course. These students may then determine that they would like to pay to take the exam in May. College Board scores AP exams on a 1 to 5 rating. Most colleges, with the exception of the University of Michigan, will award college credit if a student scores a 3, 4, or 5 on an AP exam. From there, the college has an alignment guide that helps students determine what college course they may receive credit in. For instance, scoring a 3 or 4 on our AP U.S. History test exam may mean that a student earns 3 credits for History 131 at Central Michigan. In turn, this is one less general ed course required for freshmen to take, saving the student approximately $1,500. I do want to note, not all of our students who take an AP course actually take the AP exam. Some students want to take the course for just overall college prep rigor, but they aren't interested in paying the fee to take the national exam. That's okay with us too. It's all about the journey with learning. So on this slide, you can see the various options for college credit at our school, the approximate for each, and what courses prepare students to pass either the AP or the CLEP exams. I often get the question, how many college credits does a typical high school student obtain out of Charlevoix High School? And that answer varies. I would say that most students can obtain at least 6 credits, but if students are motivated, they can certainly garner 12 to 18 credits and possibly more. When you think about a typical college freshman taking 15 credits, this is a cost savings of about $13,000 between tuition and room and board. Certainly a great benefit for students and families. If you have any further questions with this, Mrs. Gaffney or myself are happy to help. So on our next slide is a simple visual of the course sequence for each of the 4 core subject areas. You will note that there are a couple different math tracks that students typically follow. Those tracks are usually determined by student assessment data. In addition, you will note that any course in bold has the option of obtaining college credit. The next slide shows all of our elective options for students and considers how they will fit into the 4 main career pathways. When students work on career interest surveys, they receive suggestions of pathways to consider. We think laying out the options of courses according to these pathways helps students tie in their interests and abilities into potential careers in those areas. Here are some things I want to point out. We are fortunate to offer a comprehensive 4+ year course offering in Spanish, which culminates with a trip to Spain as well as other ventures to New York and Chicago, where students are immersed in the Spanish culture. We are also hoping that some of our upper level students will take the CLEP exam for college credit next spring. We also offer a 4-year visual arts program where students have been very successful being accepted into art schools such as the College for Creative Studies and Kendall School of Design, Art and Design. Also in the art and communication pathway, we offer yearbook and broadcasting where students can hone skills with using photography, digital design, and video editing and broadcasting. We also have students who are taking journalism as independent study and producing their own writing on a larger scale for area publications. I'm also very proud to say that we maintain 4 career and technical education programs at our school. Our business program helps students learn the ins and outs of computer applications as well as money management, investing, and much more. Our construction trades program is another 4-year program where students learn how to use all different types of tools, safety, and the overall steps in building a house on site from start to finish. Our health occupations program is very unique in that students take the first level course on campus, which focuses on medical terminology and the body systems. From there, they can take a second year, which meets at the hospital. Students participate in approximately 20 different rotations so they can see a wide variety of health careers before they choose a specialty area. Typically, our students choose 1 to 3 specialty areas, and they spend 6+ weeks in each of those areas. It's quite a learning experience. We are also lucky to offer a high-level CAD class for our future engineers. These courses focus students on becoming proficient in SolidWorks, which is an industry standard computer-aided drafting software. This year, we even had a few students take and pass a national certification test for SolidWorks, which is pretty cool. Again, if you have any questions on these courses, please don't hesitate to check out our enrollment guide, which is online at rader.net for course descriptions, or simply reach out to me or Mrs. Gaffney for more information. So now that we've reviewed the necessary graduation requirements and course offerings, you and your student have a chance to do a quick assessment of progress. In the mailing home, you should have received a copy of your student's high school transcript as well as his or her schedule for next year. I would encourage you to print the audit sheet from our website and check the appropriate boxes for what courses have been completed or are scheduled next year. Speaking of schedule, Mrs. Gaffney has worked extensively with this past month with students on course selection as we are locking down our master schedule and solidifying how many sections we need of each course. If a student is not satisfied with their courses for a legitimate reason, I would suggest that he or she email Mrs. Gaffney, and she will be happy to communicate via email or just set up an appointment in person if necessary. Our goal is to have any of these schedule changes done prior to July 1st, as there will be limited options for changing schedules in August. Thanks for hanging with me. I want to switch gears and chat about student achievement data. In your mailing, you may have an NWEA, PSAT, or an SAT report for reference. Please know that it is super important for our staff to look at many data points when determining how best to support individual students or just when determining strengths and weaknesses of our overall curriculum. You can see from this slide that we administer several state assessments, MSTEP, PSAT, and SAT in various grades. Our district also chooses to administer NWA for another data point of learning. A biggie for our college-bound students is the SAT. SAT is again created by College Board and is used as a college entrance exam around the country. It is intended to measure a student's readiness for college, meaning if a student meets a college readiness score while taking the assessment, for instance in evidence-based reading and writing, he or she should have success in the same equivalent college English course. SAT is administered to all juniors in the state of Michigan every April, free to students. In addition, our state has added the PSAT, which is a preliminary SAT, to our state testing window, and our 8th, 9th, and 10th graders take the PSAT every spring. This is helpful in that it gives students a chance to prepare for the SAT with a similar test, but not under a high-pressure situation. It is also good because students receive a ton of info after the PSAT, which should help them to improve in areas of weakness and ultimately increase their SAT score. So let's talk about that for a minute. If you have a 9th, 10th, or 11th grader who turned in their PSAT reports to us in the spring, the report is enclosed in your mailing. I just want to point out a couple of key components, just in case your son or daughter has not shared this information with you. First, you should have a cover page. The info at the bottom is important. The actual website along with the access code information. This is how your son or daughter actually retrieves their full report, which is much more detailed than what we're sending home. I would highly encourage you taking a few minutes with your son or daughter to review the online report together. The next page that you have in your mailing shows you the student's overall PSAT score along with the percentile ranking. For this example, this student is in the 74th percentile, which means he or she scored higher than 74% of the students who took this assessment at a national level. Overall, below the overall score, you will see a breakdown of the evidence-based reading and writing score and the math scores. The composite score is made up of both the reading and writing and the math scores. Again, you will see the percentiles to give you a better idea of where your student sits in comparison against the norming group. The next page is what I get most excited about, the actual item analysis. This is where the student can actually see what questions he or she got wrong by logging into College Board. They can pull up the actual test questions and reflect on the right answer versus the wrong answer and why they answered one way or another. I have left you with some questions on this page to consider when you're looking through this information. The final page of the PSAT report refers to the meat and potatoes of how to improve for the next PSAT and ultimately the SAT. On this page, you will find a reminder about the link between PSAT and Khan Academy, as well as a reminder about Road Trip Nation, which is a super cool career tool that interfaces with Big Futures. And also, all of these resources are connected through a student's College Board account. I can't stress enough that these are great tools for all students to be thinking about the future. Let me take a minute just to remind you about Khan Academy and why I get so excited about this resource. The power of College Board and Khan Academy joining forces is this. When a student has a College Board account and a Khan Academy account, which all of our 8th through 12th graders do, Khan Academy customizes practice for each student based on how he or she scored on the PSAT or the SAT. That means when each student individually logs into Khan, he or she is receiving customized, individualized practice based on how they scored on PSAT with the goal of increasing their next test score, whether that's PSAT or SAT. That's a super cool resource that all students should be using, even outside of school. Research shows that an hour or so a week can provide impressive gains on overall scores. You might be thinking, what's the big deal about a high SAT score? Well, I can definitely tell you it opens many doors for students who are going to college, either by allowing them to get into their college of choice, but also with placement, and even more so with scholarship dollars. I'm all about opening doors and putting students in the best possible position for their next step in life. The next slide is a snapshot of the SAT report that your current senior may have in the mailing. Again, many of the same elements as the PSAT report, but also a little more limited due to the fact that students don't need to improve this score and usually are at the point of using this for college entrance. Just a quick look at NWA. NWA is another assessment that our students take, and this is what the report looks like in your mailing. Most of our 7th through 10th graders took this assessment at the end of the year, as they do every year, usually in the fall, sometimes in the winter, and then again at the spring. Again, it is one point in time, but some items of interest are listed on this slide. Is your student showing consistent growth over time in each content area? How does a student perform in relationship to the district norm grade level group or in relation to the national norming group? Our teachers analyze this data at a grade level, course level look to look for strengths and weaknesses in the curriculum and also to differentiate instruction for students. There is also a correlation between NWA and PSAT, so that is helpful for our staff as well. Again, just another data point for you to take a look at with your student and review kind of their growth over time. Lastly, I just want to close with a couple points of interest in case your son or daughter is bored this summer or they just are thinking about the next step for college and careers. First, I want to share some statistics in regards to next steps with our graduating classes. We typically have, as a school district, about 85 to 90% of our students who access further education through a college or university, a community college, or by joining the military. In thinking about what next for your student, I would definitely focus on some of the items on this slide by encouraging any job shadows over the summer when they may have a little bit more time on their hands, as this can really help a student gain perspective on a job or career. I would also encourage any type of college visit if it works into your schedule. Even if you're road tripping and are passing by a college, take time to stop. Often students connect with the feel of a campus, and the more exposure on various campuses, the better. Lastly, don't forget any of the online resources through College Board that I have discussed, or students also have accounts to Zillow, which is a fantastic career website, and we subscribe to it as a school district, and students can access their Zillow accounts through PowerSchool. If they're in their quick lookup screen, there's an easy link, it takes them right to their customized Zillow accounts. It's super easy and it's free to our students. So if you have a few minutes, these online resources would be great to explore together with your son or daughter, and they could open up some wonderful conversations about next steps. Again, thanks for taking the time to review with me. I speak on behalf of our faculty and staff and thanking you for sharing your son or daughter with us. June always has me reflecting on the school year and thinking about ways to improve for next year, and I would welcome any input that you have as parents. Thanks again and have a wonderful summer.